Hello, everybody. Welcome to another CNC Q A Podcast. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. And I guess you can tell I've got my little jack-o'-lanterns up here. I got them all lit up. Those lights I got in them just aren't very bright, but you might be able to see a little bit of a glow from them. So happy Halloween! I guess tomorrow's Halloween when all the little rugrats will be out running around. Anyway, let me get my crew in here. I'm gonna have to add one guy here. Let's see. He wasn't here last week, so I had him turned off. Let's see if he's. No, he's not. Oh, it's buffering. I guess it's trying to get you in here. Well, we'll see. He's here, but I don't know if it's gonna show up or not.
He doesn't show up one week and Emux gets rid of him, huh?
Yeah. Is he? He's looking awful still down below. Is he froze down there?
I don't know. Are you froze, Ryan? He might be froze.
I think he is. Maybe that's why his thing is buffering. Okay, well, we'll just keep on talking about him and and see if he shows up later. Yeah, I think he's frozen up down there. He's probably rebooting or something right now. But we'll leave that thing buffering like that, and he'll pop in when he gets ready, I guess.
Oh, Nemo Labs is out in the chat.
Oh, sweet. Welcome.
Marcelo's out there. Sean's out there.
Okay, all righty. We got a few folks out there. We ain't setting the woods on fire, but we got a few folks out there. Tonight's show is going to be kind of a continuation of what we did last week. If you recall, last week I was showing how to set up the file. I was running that really long 3D carve of that cross. That was a file I got from 3dwave.us, which we're going to be talking about those folks. There he is. He finally made it. Did you have to reboot or something?
I could see me fine.
Oh, well, that's weird.
Yeah, so
I could see you down below, but you weren't moving. And I asked you something right before the music stopped, and you never did answer me. So.
Oh, well, I did, but I guess you didn't hear it.
Okay, all right. Well, you're here now, so
I'm here.
That's good. Okay, well, listen, before you drop out again, how about talking about your Making It Up As We Go podcast?
Oh, yeah. So on Saturday nights at 9:00, except for last Saturday, we do Making It Up As We Go. It's all about the CNC and laser and 3D printing videos and stuff that have come out in the week or so, and talking about our own projects and all that fun stuff, and usually making fun of me. So come and join us. It's a good time.
All righty. And you were on your little vacation last week, but I'm glad you're back because I don't know what to do on Saturday nights when you're not on. I had to wash my hair or something. I don't even remember.
I would really have rather have been on doing the show. We went to Disney and I wore the wrong shoes. Like I usually wear like a walking shoe when I go, and I just had my regular tennis shoes on, and man, my ankles were just dying the whole time. So it was pretty rough, but I got lots of inspiration and stuff like that while we were down there. So
okay, well, cool.
Yeah, so we'll share that in at some point here.
And you've also, I don't know if you want to discuss your challenge or not, but you.
Yeah, we do have the Gatton Christmas Challenge, which is coming up very, very shortly. So using either, CNCs, lasers, 3D printers, whatever machines that you have out there. Hey, water jets or plasma table, whatever you want to do, as long as it's a robot. Create a Christmas themed project and shoot a video on it, and you're going to put it out between Black Friday and Christmas Eve, and then in the beginning of January, we're going to do a show on just going over them all and hopefully give out a bunch of prizes. We have some really cool sponsors this year, and one of them is in the chat.
Oh, sweet.
But we haven't talked about them yet.
Okay. Well, I put this up here. If you want to get all the details, how to enter and what you need to do and all that, go to rballarddesigns.com, and he's got all the details and the scoop on the challenge over there on his website. So be sure and check that out. Paul, you been up to anything?
Matter of fact, I have. I've been working very hard on my Gatton Christmas Challenge project.
Okay, good deal.
I don't want to be one of these last minute, well, I guess I'll have to wait till next year kind of entries. Yeah. So I've been working on that, and I've been trying to set up that project that you made last week, working on it in VCarve to see if I could get it set up, and it's coming along.
Well, I'm hoping that some of the folks from the NEMA Labs Facebook group that have NEMA Labs CNCs, I hope they represent in the Christmas challenge and come up with stuff. Because I know there's some guys over there that's got some good creative talent over there. I see their posts in the Facebook group. So I hope somebody will jump on that challenge thing.
Well, it's a great challenge, and I hope people don't wait till the very last minute to get their projects in. I know Marcelo said he had his done already, and
okay,
maybe
that's
he'll
the way to do it. Just knock it out, and then just wait until
Black
Friday to release the video or whatever.
Yeah, maybe make two.
Heck yeah.
You can always make an ornament.
Always make an ornament.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, this is going to be kind of a continuation. I thought y'all might want to see how that project turned out, or if it did turn out. But yeah, it did turn out. In fact, let me go ahead and get it and show you. It is not finished. And when I say finished, I mean it does not have any finish like lacquer or anything like that on it. It's still raw wood. And I don't know that I am going to do anything else to it. I'm probably going to do a little more sanding in a few spots. I haven't. Every time I look at it, I see a spot I need to touch up with some sandpaper. But anyway, let me hit the solo view here. This is the thing here. And as you can see, it's pretty beefy. It's about 1.25 inches thick. Turned out really nice with this maple. And this was a blank that my buddy Jim had gave to me, gave 2 of them to me. But if you look close, and you can't really see it, you almost can't. Yeah, that darn crack is spreading again. There's a little bitty crack right here, and it's where he took, I don't know, they were probably like 2x2s or whatever offcuts, and he glued them up and then ran them through the planer. Well, after I parted this thing out, you could probably see it. Well, I don't even know if you could see it, but right here, it started to separate where he had it glued up. It's where 2 pieces were together. So I threw some glue on there and clamp it, but it really needs to be disguised a little more because you guys probably can't see it with me holding it like this, but I can see it like when I'm looking at it. But I'm probably just going to give this to Jim, because when he brought me that wood, I told him what I was wanting to do. I said, well, when I run one of those, I'll give you one, because I know his wife, Jill, would probably like it. But this is how it come out. And let me get back over here. We're going to do, let me get the screen share.
What what do you use to sand that, Dave? You use like a mop sander or?
Well, I'm going to tell you, you really don't need much in
Oh,
here because I do my step over at just, well, it's actually 0.0037. So just under 4 thousandths of an inch. I mean, when you're watching that thing go across and it goes across and then it moves back, you can't even hardly see it move. You almost have to have your hand touching it to know that it's, or be looking at the DRO to know that it moved. But anyway, let me throw this screen share on here, and we're going to add this right here. Let's see. I might as well do. Oh well, we'll leave it. We'll leave it like. Well, let's see. Let me open it up a little bit. Oh, hi. That's behind there. So this is the program that we did last week, and I wanted to go over this again so that anybody that didn't quite understand what I was talking about, this thing here would be, and I don't have it on here on this one. These are all the different tool paths where it's split up. But if you just ran the whole tool path, you're probably talking about 11, 12 hours worth of work on this thing. And I just cannot stand out here on this concrete floor for 12 hours. I'm just sorry. I'm not going to do it. So I wanted to break it up. Now, the way it is here, you can see all these different lines, and I've got them different colors to help me understand which one is which. But when I ran the roughing pass, you can see the time up here. It says 2:35 is what the estimated time was. And the actual time, I wrote down all the actual time. So the actual time for the roughing was 1 hour and 45 minutes. So on Saturday, I ran this roughing pass. In fact, let me get over here and let's do it like that. So I ran the roughing pass, and then I ran a little later in the day, Saturday, I ran this first pass, which came right up to here. So it's getting just this bottom side here and coming on up here a little bit. Then Sunday, I didn't run anything. And also keep in mind, I'm not hitting pause and leaving everything run and all that. I'm shutting it all down. And every time I come back out, in fact, this was Saturday's run. Then when I came out Monday, I, fired the machine up, homed the machine. I had my coordinates wrote down just in case something happened, but I was using G-Sender connected to the controller, so that worked perfect. Where all I would have to do is home the machine and then click the go to 00, and it would go right back to where I left off. And then, of course, I would make sure I would set the Z height with the probe each time too, to make sure it hadn't dropped or nothing was with it. So I came out on Monday, and then I ran this one, and if you look right here, if I turn this back up, you can see how that sticks up. So you can see that I overlap them a little just to make sure I don't miss anything. So that's going a little bit more than halfway, I guess, on that. So that was Monday's run. Then I shut it off again and came back out on Tuesday and ran this one. And again, if you look close right here, you can see that they are overlapped a little bit. And I probably went a little overkill on the overlapping stuff, but it didn't matter. I just wanted to keep it where it didn't miss anything, and it doesn't hurt to go over it again, because it's doing is, if it left any fuzzies the first time, it's cleaning them up the second time. So that was Tuesday's run. And then today, when I came out here, I ran the fourth and final finish thing, which again, you can see it's overlapped a little bit there. finished that. And then the last one I did was the profile, which really didn't take that long. But I'm going to come back over here and I'll show you these cycle times. This is what I was talking about. Now, of course, this is a little extra because there's some overlap there, but it's saying over 11 and a half hours right there. And I actually wrote down the actual cycle time. So the first one, it says 2:35, and I ran it in an hour and 45 minutes. The first finish one says an hour and 13. That was pretty close because my actual time was an hour and 11 minutes. The second one says 3:24, and I ran it in 2 hours and 57 minutes. The third one is 2:57, and I ran it in 2 hours and 32 minutes, so a little quicker. And then the last finished one was an hour and 16 minutes, and I ran it in an hour and 12. So if you just take my actual times, we're looking at, let's see, that's about 3. There's another 3, that's 6. There's another 2.5, so that's 8.5. And then another hour and 15 or so. So that's what, 9 3/4 hours. And then, of course, the profile didn't take long at all because, again, I didn't cut all the way through. I just cut down about 3/4 of an inch, and then took it over around back to where my bandsaw is in my shop around back, and cut it out, and then used the flush trim bit to flush it up. But yeah, it came out. Oops, I always do that when I'm not in the thing over here. It came out pretty good. Pretty happy with it. Like I said, I hate that spot right there where we had that glue up started separating a little bit, but it came out pretty good. I think he'll be happy with it, and he'll know how to fix that right there. I had that clamped for several hours. In fact, I just took the clamp off of it, but I'll be darned if it didn't trying to separate a little more. So, but you could touch that up with a little sawdust and glue or something, and probably wouldn't see it.
Carving mainly because of the time it takes and where my CNC is. So is in doing a 3D carve like that, how does grain direction play into it, or does it not at all? Like, because I mean, you're going on the X back and forth. I mean, is that affecting the with the grain direction?
Well, I talked about this a little bit last week. Is it can make a difference. You don't want to go directly across the grain. You want to go either with the grain, or a lot of guys like to use a 45-degree angle or maybe a 60-degree angle and kind of start in a corner and just zigzag back and forth, going across it that way. And I've always had good luck running it with the grain. So, for example, the grain runs this way, and this thing was so big it was setting sideways. So, the X was going back and forth like this. But another thing a lot of guys do is they probably don't use as tiny as a step over as I do. So I found that going with the grain and not doing the 45 or a 60 degree, just going straight back and forth. Well, in my case, it was like this, going straight back and forth along the X. It works out fine. Like I said, there really was no fuzzies at all on this part. The part where I had fuzzies is after I was cutting it out and using the flush trim bit. I was trying to clean up the sides. But this came out really good because, think about it, 4 thousandths. That's nothing. And it's that bit that I'm using is for the finishing, it is this one right here, which is a 1/8 inch tapered ball nose with a 1/16 radius tip. So you got a 1/16 radius tip, and you're only moving less than 4 thousandths. It really leaves a good finish, and of course that's also why it takes forever. So, and I think that's why I'm going to tell you a little secret.
You got a question there, Dave.
What are the displays on my enclosure?
Yeah, I think he's talking about your Nemo labs. They look like they're a display back there, but I don't think he realizes what they are.
Okay, well, I have, and then I realize that's pretty dusty because it's looking hard to see through. But there's 2 Nemo Lab CNCs in this enclosure here. There's a NBS 6040 on this side and a NBX 5040 on this side. Let me see if I can. There's the 5040. And a rotary axis, I just have it sitting there. I haven't hooked it up yet. And then here is on the other side is the 6040. And that's what I use to run this thing that I'm talking about tonight. So I don't know if that's what he was talking about, or if at first I thought maybe he was talking about those little lantern things up there. But maybe he wasn't. I don't know what he was talking about when he says display.
Oh, Earl Walker said maybe he was talking about the offline controllers there.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that is the offline controller that Nemo Labs came out with. Let's see, probably a couple of months ago now, or yeah, I think my very first show was talking about one of those.
That's a good catch, Earl.
And I say offline controller. They have the machine comes with a little offline controller, but it comes with this one, which is okay. It'll get the job done, but it's not near as nice as those back there.
Here's another question I got there.
Okay. I'm curious how much faster a machine 2 or 3 times the price would have cut down on the total time. Well, I don't know.
I don't think by much because of, even if it could add more acceleration, due to the size of the piece, you couldn't get it up to, 6 or whatever, you couldn't get it up to a higher speed in that small of a time frame. So
yeah, and
it might, but it wouldn't.
Jeremy, I have an Avid CNC sitting right over here out of shop. It's always got stuff sitting on it, pretty much. But it is
$1,000 assembly table.
Yeah, I call it my $10,000 assembly table. But it's a Pro Series 48 by 48, and it's a hoss. It's a fast machine. I'm sure I could probably cut the time maybe in half, but I don't think I could get it like 2 or 3 or 4 times faster, simply because you don't want to get too crazy on these things, because the whole thing is, that precision of doing a really tight step over that's where you get the good finish on these things. So, but yeah. All right. Now I don't remember what I was talking about before those questions, but I guess it'll come back to me here in a minute.
Also, I don't know if you saw in the chat, our buddy TJ's woodworking shop had triple bypass surgery. Whew.
Oh man!
So hopefully,
I know that wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had to quadruple bypass, and it don't really matter how many you have, and they are no fun.
No.
So,
but Sounds like he's feeling a whole lot better though.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
good.
if you're out of the hospital and back home recovering, I know you're feeling better because they don't let you rest in the hospital. That was the worst 11 days I've ever spent in my life at Piedmont, at Piedmont Atlanta. I mean, I love them because they fixed me up, but good God Almighty, them people don't let you rest up there. Every 10 minutes they want to come poke you or make you take a pill or
Yep.
wake you up just to see if you know, still,
Make sure you're still breathing.
yeah, make sure you're still there, all that. So I was never so happy to get out of that place and come home. Even as, bear with me a second. I'm going to get another thing open up over here.
What the heck happened?
Oh, I can't type. There we go. All right. I was telling Paul, we were talking about, because Paul said he had bought that same file from 3D Wave. And is working on running that same part. So I wanted to bring this up. This is the website. This is 3D Wave. And you can see the email I got from them today was talking about their Christmas stuff. So, this would probably make some pretty good challenge stuff right here, I'm thinking. But they've got all kinds of Christmas stuff. And you can see, like I said, these are all files you have to buy, but they're not crazy. They're running a sale on some of them now. And just look at the detail on these things. These guys, they don't mess around. They are the best files out there. And you can also buy laser files too, for that matter.
And they have a discount for the more you buy.
Right. Yeah, you can kind of bundle stuff up and get a better price break on stuff. But just awesome, awesome files. Their whole thing, and they've been doing this a long time. So, okay, here's crosses. So if I come over here, see, here's the one that we just did. It's 26.25 for that one, but that's a real popular one. But they got just a ton of stuff over here, and all of it is really, really nice. So the reason I wanted to show you all this is I know there's probably some folks out here that may be beginners with their CNC machines. Don't be afraid to try to tackle one of these long, really super long 3D cars because, like I said, I've shown you now how you can pretty much take it, and if you put your roughing tool path and your uh, finishing tool path on there, and you go, holy cow, this is all right. Why isn't this doing it? Oh, I know why, because I got this over here. There. Yeah, when you put those on and you look at it and it's like, holy cow, this thing's 15 hours. I can't run that. Yeah, you can run it. You just need to set it up like I've shown you last week and what we talked about a while ago on this one. You can make them as big or as small as you want to. If you've only got, just experiment, draw a little vector around the part you think you got time to do. See, if it's 3 hours and you've only got an hour, we'll just shrink it down, split it up some more. But it doesn't matter how many tool paths you make, just as long as you overlap them, at least, I would say probably at least a 1/16 of an inch. I went way more than that. But if you
The Anthracite project has a comment here, and I think you pretty much did that on last week's show.
Okay, well we can do that again right here. Let me get that off of there, and let me get my okay. Let me get this.
Here's his next one. He thought that it was a ready to cut V-carve design, and really they kind of are.
Okay, yeah. Let me do my shared screen over here. And I'm just going to start over. Like this is that cross. This one's the one that's all set up. But I'm going to come back here and I'm just going to open up another instance of VCarve Pro and I'll show you how you bring these in. So you basically, once you buy that file, you know that once you pay, they'll send you an email that'll have your download link. Or in some cases, I think you can download it right then. But even if you don't get it right away, they'll send you an email with a download link. So let me put this one over here. And so then you just download it and put it someplace you'll remember where you put it. And I'm going to come over here. We're going to create a new file, 17 by 13. That's what I was using for, that's what size that blank was. So we'll click OK here. And then it's just go up here to Model, Insert Component, 3D Model. And here's, of course, I already had this set up for last week, but this is that model that I just bought, or the one I just ran. And you bring it in, and you can see where that little red rectangle is in the middle there. That's my blank. These are all done in metric apparently. So when they come in, that one's way big. So I'm going to say scale this in inches. And now you can see there's my blank, but you can say, well, it's not going to fit that way. So I'm going to turn it around that way. And that's the way I ran it right there. So you can position and import that. And then you can come here and see that we want to, we can bring that down so that that's just below the top right there. And then we can click import. And then there it is. It's ready to go. And then it's just a matter of putting your tool pass on it here. So if we come over here, we'll come up here to this setup and we'll see a model thickness, gap above model. I want to come up here and make that. So you can see this tan part is the thickness of my model, which is this number here, 0.9232. And then you can see this other color on top. It's, in fact, I can go even less than that. Let me try to get, okay, so there's about 30 thousandths of material before it starts hitting this guy's back right here. And so we can set that. And then if you're going to do this and spend all day at it, you could just do this in one tool path. And what I like to do, since this is a cross and it's different, one thing about it here, I need to get rid of those little holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to design and tell it to draw a vector around there. And notice when I do, it puts vectors in those little places, and I don't want that. So I ungroup it, and then I come here where I can highlight. Oops. Let me ungroup it, and then I can highlight just those small little pieces and get rid of them. Okay. And then what I do is I like to give that bit some room to go past this. So I come back over here and I offset this. I think I did a 1/4 inch if I'm not mistaken. So there's that. And then when you go to set this up, you don't want this thing to, because this is a cross and obviously doesn't take all of your rectangle up. You don't want to waste time going all the way across here. So you only want it to do right here. So you can hit your roughing pass and you can check the little radio button here that says selected vector and then hold shift and highlight that one. Now it's only going to do what's inside that vector that's highlighted. So there we go. And we can check this out. So there's our roughing pass. And then if we wanted to do the same thing with our finishing pass, and again, these are already set up because that's what I had in there, the tapered ball nose. And it's going to do it within that vector. So I can come down here and just hit calculate. Okay, so now I've got 2 tool paths. So it's going to do everything just in those 2 tool paths. And then we'll let it finish and we'll go look and see how long the estimated time is to do it that way. Okay, so now if we come over here and we click the time, that says 13 hours and 41 minutes is the estimated time.
Now, Jeremy had a question here.
Okay.
Let me put it up.
I don't know how to answer that. I'll tell you what, just here's what you do. You don't walk away from it. In other words, you got to be willing to commit the time to spend with these things. That's another reason why I like to split mine up and only run it, because I can stand out here for a couple of hours on this old hard concrete floor, but I am not wanting to stand out here, 9 hours while this whole thing finishes. So even that first day when let's see what I did with that. Okay, here's the other one. Even that first day, let me do this, reset. Okay. I came out here and I ran the roughing, and then I ran the first finishing pass that I had set up that did just this much. But even between those, I took a break in between those because, the first one, a roughing, was an hour and 45 minutes. The second one was an hour and 11 minutes. So you're talking about almost 3 hours there. So I ran the first one and then I did the second one. Now, the cool thing about the finishing pass, and I'm little hesitant to even tell you all this, but the cool thing about the finishing pass is it's only taking off just a few thou as it runs across there. So if you really trust your machine and you know that it's not going to mess up, you can start it and watch the first few passes, and then you don't necessarily have to stay with the machine. Stand right there and hover over it like a hawk.
Yeah.
But make sure you keep the thing within earshot where you can hear it. And I'm going to fess up, I'll be the first to tell you, a lot of the times while this was running, and it's because I trusted the machine and I trust the setups I've done, I'm sitting about 10 feet on the other side of that door in my recliner, but I've got the TV turned down low so that I can still hear that router. And I have to, because I keep I don't run dust collection, so I have to keep the enclosure closed up so it doesn't throw the dust everywhere, but it also makes it a little quieter. So I have to keep TV down really low, and I'm listening for that router, and I'm not going to go any, not going to go anywhere where I can't get to that thing in a hurry. So,
And you're
now,
not really waiting. You're not really watching it to do its thing. You're waiting in case something does go wrong. I mean, and if it does go wrong, you're not going to stop it. But if you can stop it from catching fire or
really,
hurting the machine, that's what you're really waiting.
really on any project, but especially these long 3D cars,
Yeah.
you're only trying to stop the machine in case something goes wrong, so you minimize the damage to the machine, because the project's already screwed.
Yeah.
You can forget that. The project is already shot. Maybe you'll be lucky and something happens, and you could, if in this case, because I was starting out with a really thick blank, if it had screwed up real early in the run and gouged someplace, the blank was thick enough I could have surfaced it again and started over. But then you still lost all that time. But
Marcelo's got a comment there that he set up a video camera, and but he says if something goes wrong, we're not fast enough to stop it. He's right, like you just said.
Yeah, because these things, by the time you realize they're going wrong, it's already done it.
Yeah.
And like I said, the project's going to be screwed up. Basically, you're listening to it mainly so you don't burn your shop or your house down wherever you're at. Because these things can, if that bit gets stuck in one spot and that router's still running, it's creating all that friction and all that dust. It's it's a fire waiting to happen. So you're really just trying to minimize the damage on the machine. You're lucky if you could break a bit and the thing keeps on going like it thinks the bit's there and it's not doing nothing. That's the best possible outcome on a screw up, I guess. But really, keep it within earshot if you're not, or if you're in your garage and you've got other equipment in there and you're over maybe at a workbench doing some sanding or gluing up, who knows what else you might be doing. Like I say, you don't have to have your eyeballs on the machine all the time, but you need to have your ears on it, because that's when things go wrong. And cameras are nice. Now, as I mentioned, you can't see it, but right over here where I'm pointing, I have my Avid CNC over here, my 4848. And I have I don't think you can see it. I think it's just out of the shot there. I have a security camera mounted right above the door where I go into my house. Well, the way that security camera is, I can set all the way in my office, which is at the other end of the house, and I can watch that Avid on that security camera and see everything it's doing. I can't really hear it, which I would rather hear it than see it. I always hate it because I'm always afraid I'll get on the computer and get busy, distracted, and then I look over at the monitor, it flames or something. But fortunately, that's never happened. But the bad thing is the way I've got this set up to do this live stream show with this enclosure, that security camera doesn't do squat because I can't even see the machine. And those security cameras don't have sound, so I can't hear it. They're just video only. So
the Anthracite Project put a question in there.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. I haven't. Maybe I will one day. We'll see. We'll see. I've got I've had water cooled spindles on my Gatton CNC, and of course on that Avid over there, I have a big honking air cooled spindle on that one. So, but yeah, I hadn't really thought much about adding the spindle to one of these. They do have one available though. Okay, so getting back to this, like I said, this is, and if these runs were too much, like this, like let's see, this one right here, this first finish, it was about an hour and 11 minutes. That might not be too bad. But then the next one was nearly 3 hours. It was 2 hours and 57 minutes. So, like I said, you just have to know how much time you have and go, okay, well, I'm trying to do this. I work a full-time job and I'm gone in the daytime. When I come home, I only have, an hour or so out in the shop. Just figure out how to make your box small enough where it's only going to, and just make sure when you do the next one, when you come out the next night, make sure they're overlapped. Like I said, at least a 16th, and you could go more than that like I did, but then you're just losing time because it's really just hitting the parts you've already done. But I went, like I said, I went a little crazy because both of those were overlapped. That one's probably overlapped a half an inch or something like that. So, but that is a good way to run these long running programs with. And like I said, this one was a little trickier because of the shape, because it's in a cross shape. But just picture it, if you were just doing something that's just a rectangle, then you're basically just gonna when you come over here to draw your things here, you just set them up like this and go, okay, there's one, and then you'd overlap. So it's easier because you're just doing rectangles all the way up. It was a little trickier here because I was doing, well,
Different shape.
Yeah. I don't know why that's not coming off of there. Anyway, is it still there?
Yep.
It's not even letting me. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, now I got one stuck on there I don't need. But
Control V or
let's
Z.
see if I can. No, it's not letting me do nothing on that thing. Anyway, yeah. So you would just. It's easier to do if you're doing just a rectangle or a square type shape. This one's was a little more tricky, trying to not make it, because you just don't want to waste a bunch of time cutting out here. And what I've done is, like, when I took this around, if I let me run this through here again. Oh, I know why that wasn't doing it, probably because I was in the 3D view and not the 2D. Okay, let me come back out. Yeah, there's what I need to do. I was over here in the 3D view. Okay, so even when I did the profile path right here, you just don't want it to cut all of this when you're, so it would really take a long time there. So when I took this around to the bandsaw, what I did is I came in with the bandsaw right here, and I come down right here, then back that back out, and then came over here and cut that till that big chunk come off, and did the same thing over here. So I had this big chunk, this big chunk, this big chunk, that one, and then even a couple of smaller ones here. So all of those are big enough to use for something on a rotary axis project. So
Yeah.
they're about the right thickness. Like I said, they're about 1.25 inches thick, so I can just cut them on the table saw and square them up and bring them in here. Probably when I do my first thing with the rotary axis, I'll probably have to show folks, if they don't already know how you can take, instead of going to buy a dowel or putting it on your lathe and turning it around, you can actually take a square, or even doesn't have to be perfectly square. It can be kind of oddball shape, and you can stick it on a rotary axis and then do what they call a square to round, where you run that program first, and it will make it round, where then you can use your rotary axis to make something cool, like a chess piece or something like that. So here's a couple of chess pieces I've done with the NEMA Labs rotary axis. This is King or no Queen? Queen, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah, it looks like Queen.
I'm not a check. King's the one's got the cross on top, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's a Queen, and then this is a Knight. But anywho, all right. Any other questions or comments or anything I need to see?
I don't see any.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All righty. Well, like I said, I hope that the whole purpose of this show and of course the one last week is to try to show folks that, hey, I know when you're new at this, these 3D carves are so cool and you want to do one, but then when you start seeing how long they take, you're like, oh man, I don't know. So I just wanted to kind of show folks, because not everybody knows about that little, what that means by select vector and all that. But to me, it's a super easy way, because you can make the runs either as long or as short as you want them, and just break it down, overlap them, and then break it down. That way you don't have to hit pause and leave your machine on all night and all that nonsense. Go ahead and shut it off, turn everything off, and when you come back out the next day or whenever, in my case, I did one on Saturday, and then I started to come out here Sunday, and I thought, nah, I'm just going to sit around and watch football on Sunday. Watch them Commanders or Redskins. That was some game, wasn't it?
That was a Hail Mary.
It's, when you think about over the course of a lifetime, how many Hail Marys you see, and about 99.9% of them don't work.
Nope.
They always just get knocked to the ground or intercepted or something like that. And that was just so cool to see that guy catch that one after that guy tipped it. That was just, there was like 2 seconds left on the clock.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just super cool.
Well, the guy that tipped it was jaw jacking to the crowd as the play was going on. it was wild.
Yeah, he caught heck for that too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But,
fun time.
All right, well, I guess that's going to do it for this one. If anybody is now ready to try their long 3D carve, like I said, if you want to get a really good file, and I'm not affiliated with that company at all, that 3dwave.us. So it don't matter. They don't even know me from the man in the moon unless I buy something. But they are one of the best places in my book anyway to get 3D files. They're really detailed. I've never got one where I thought it really. Now I don't know what those little artifacts were, those things in that, but maybe they're supposed to be in there. I don't know. But I took them out. But yeah, most of the files, it's that easy. You just download it, bring them into VCarve Pro, and scale it right and all that, and then set the height right on your material, and boom. Like I said, usually two tool pass and you're done, unless you're like me and you don't want to stand on concrete all day. Then you can break it up. And
I've seen that cross many times, but I don't think I've seen it that detailed.
Yeah.
So
well,
that's a really highly detailed one.
It is. Well, and even with this one, if you remember looking at that website, I think I've already turned it off now, but you can make this deeper.
Yeah.
Like I didn't go too super crazy with it, just because the deeper you go, the more time you're adding to it. Now I had plenty of room, because look how thick this piece is. The actual carving is only going down, I don't know, maybe a ½ inch from the top. But yeah, the more you cut down into it and get it deeper, where you get even more detail, you're just adding a lot of time. And I wanted to have this ready to go to show you if I'd have made it as deep as some of them. Now I got this one that I ran. I don't know if this one sucks because this grain is really bad, but this one, I don't know if you can tell, this is deeper right here. Like there's probably a good 5/8 from this to the top of his back. And there's probably, I don't know, 5/16, 9/6, maybe a half inch or so. It's less on that one. But yeah, they're really detailed files, and like I said, they cost you a little money, but you know, you buy it once and you can run it as many times as you want to.
Yep.
But hopefully,
You sell one of them, it's paid for itself.
Yeah, because you could sell anything you make that you buy from that place. But hopefully tonight's show and last week's show as well, where I show you how I split this up, that will encourage some folks to get out there in their shop and try one. So we hope so anyway. So, all right. Well, I guess if nobody has any other questions or anything, we will.
Yep, you got one more over there.
Okay.
Yeah, bring it up there. There you go. Do you always use G-Sender for your control from PC or other apps besides the offline controller?
Well, I don't know how long you've been watching this show, but when I did, when I was doing the stack text or the text on text, I think I still got it over here somewhere. No, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, here's one I did. And I mentioned this the night I was talking about these. But if I hold this up here, you have to really look close. I know exactly where it is, so I see it easy. But right here on, if I can get in here, if you look real close at the F right there, one time the machine was supposed to do a Z move and come up and then move over. Well, it didn't come up. It just went over. So it cut a little shallow V right through the center of that F right there. And you can't really see it. It doesn't look that bad. And this was just playing around anyway, so it didn't matter. It's just a cedar fence picket I was testing with. But when that happened, I was running the programs from the offline controller. Now, I still don't know what caused that, so I don't know whether it had anything to do with the offline controller or not. But what I did is I came out here and ran my cable, which I still have my cable hooked up to the 6040 right here, and I used G-Sender and ran that exact same program. Didn't change anything, just ran it again, and it ran perfect on G-Sender without that boo-boo where it cut across. So I don't know whether there's something about the buffering or the read ahead or whatever. I don't know enough about that. So I thought whenever I'm going to run something that's a really long program, I'm probably going to use G-Sender. And by the way, I also have already ran some really long programs using their stock offline controller. But I don't think I've ran anything as long as what these were. So like I said, I would recommend if you're going to run a program that's really super long, use either G-Sender. That just happens to be my favorite. Universal G-code sender, Candle. There's a bunch of them out there, whichever one you want to use. But I think that might be better because I don't know about the memory and, like I said, the read ahead and all that. I don't know how that is. I haven't had any problem running shorter stuff. It was just that one time. Like I said, it ran the whole rest of the program fine. It's just that one spot where the Z was supposed to come up and then move, it forgot to come up, and it just went right across there. And I happened to be standing right there looking at it, and I'm like, well, I wouldn't have been able to stop that anyway because it happens so fast. You don't know. But yeah, G Sender's my favorite. You go to I don't have their banner or anything. I used to have one, I thought, but go to CNC Labs, and when I say CNC, I always have to stop and go. It's not CNC. It's SIENCI Labs. The makers of the long mill and the what's that other one they got now? The alt mill or something. So and it's a free download. It doesn't cost anything. But in my opinion, of all and I did a show earlier a few weeks ago showing the different or some of the different senders: G Sender, UGS, Universal G Code Sender, Candle, and I forget a couple others I did. But G Sender, I think, is the best. That's the one I like the best. You may not like it, but I think it's the best one. So, all right, we are going to get out of here. We've been at it a little over an hour, so I appreciate y'all hanging around. And I guess I may try to next week. May try to get this rotary axis cranked up and running some more of this maple. I got to do something with all the waste I had on this thing, so might as well make some little blanks, and we'll maybe that's what we'll do. I'll get it set up, and we'll start with a square blank and show how to do that from square to round. And while that's running, because that's pretty boring watching that, I can probably go through and explain how I do take simple things like free models that you would get off of Thingiverse or all those different kinds of, they're really made for 3D printing. But if you know how to manipulate them a little bit, you can use them on a rotary axis as long as the capacity will fit. So anyway, we'll get into that at another time. So anyway, Paul, Ryan, thank you all for hanging with me. And I guess I should do one more thing before I get out of here. These are the little, there's the 5040 by Nemo Labs. There's all the specs on that. And of course, here is the 6040, which is the machine that I used for that. So if you're thinking about checking one of those out and you do decide to purchase, I do have somewhere, where did I put it? Oh, it's up here. I do have a discount code that's in the description of all these things. You can get 10% off your total purchase off the Nemo Labs website. So I always want to mention that. I'd hate to not mention it and somebody go, hey, I just bought a such and such. And then they didn't use my discount. So I always try to mention that. So, all right. Well, we're going to get out of here. Everybody have a good Halloween tomorrow. Be safe. And as soon as I can find the dadgum button, I don't need to put that outro somewhere else on one of these other buttons because I can never find it. There it is. I think I got it now. All right. Everybody have a good Halloween, and we'll see y'all next week.
See y'all.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.